Good morning. Happy Saturday. It's pouring rain where I am in the mountains in Southern California. It's a little bit dreary. And today I wanted to continue talking about this idea of yes and no, which for me I'm kind of focusing on because I'm learning about my human design and I'm a generator, and it's all about like responding with this sort of uh, primal uh-huh kind of body feeling. And so I'm just kind of learning about that. So it just has me thinking a lot about like how do I know when something is a yes, and how do I know when something is a no? And I think it explains like why I like certain art mediums. Like when I think about like watercolor, it's not completely in my control, and it kind of gives me something to respond to instead of me having to like make it do something. Um, and so I don't know. I just think that's kind of interesting. But anyway, last I had talked about yes or no and how there's like this sort of judgment that comes with that, and sometimes that's like discerning and editing and it's good, and sometimes it's coming from like more like inhibition and fear. And so I started thinking about that, and I hold on, I thought I was going to be able to share my screen, but I guess I can't. I'm using Vimeo's like screen capture thing for the first time, so pardon me. Anyway, I had made this diagram that was just a series of nested circles, and the innermost circle is obviously like our most private selves, and then like an outer circle that's still intimate, like you only let certain people into that, and then an outer circle that's like public but not like assertively so, and then that outer circle being like really where you promote yourself. And all of this I'm thinking of in terms of like art. And so there's like different zones of safety and who we let in and what we let out of those circles. And I think that that's a good and healthy thing to think about, like to be protective of certain stages of your artistic experience. But then also, like, I think in order for you to be fully developed as an artist, you need to be able to inhabit all of those circles and to show your work, confidently. And so I just wanted to talk about those different spheres. So the innermost circle being where it is, everything is yes. You just say yes to everything. And I'm not sure that we really let ourselves fully into that circle, like allowing ourselves to use glitter. That's a big one. Some of y'all need to use some glitter. It shows. Um, uh, or, to paint taboo topics, to do really deep healing work about trauma that you may have had. And, a lot of these things, we don't want anyone, like, they are totally private. And maybe we destroy it after we do it. Like, that's how private it needs to be. But it's a place where, like, it's just like an unequivocal yes, and everything is okay for you to explore, and you really protect that space. Your door is closed. You have support if you need it, if you're working with trauma. You spoil yourself with the art supplies that you really want to try. And, um, so I think that that's, uh, something that we all need to cultivate in ourselves, a time and a place where it can be a full-bodied yes, where we're not judging anything and we have total privacy to explore whatever we want. And then the next circle out is that first initial sharing space with others. So maybe like I'm thinking about my friend Beth, who has the Crestline Creatrix Matrix. I'm just going to pause to give a plug to that place. It's an artist residency where you can go and there's a private space and you can kind of collaborate with her on how much support you need. But when I go there, it's just wonderful. Like it feels really safe. I can make the art I want. It's very inviting. And it's like that first encounter with other, that first mirroring experience. And when we're comfortable with making art, it's not such a big deal to start showing stuff. But when we first start, like it's just fraught with insecurities and we want a lot of validation and we're scared of criticism, but we might need it. And so this is like the sphere of, collaborating with another person, taking classes, sharing your work in a way where you're really saying what you need. Like if you're sharing it in a Facebook group, like I would like some feedback on this work. Can you, and you kind of put boundaries on it. Like, this is the type of feedback I'm looking for. And sometimes it might just be, this is scary for me to show it. I just need encouragement. I don't need any feedback. I need some applause because I did the thing. So that second sphere is safe sharing with people who are qualified and have your artistic best interests at heart and want to see you succeed and care about the fact that you're making art. So creativity coaching is excellent for that as well, for that sphere of, coming out of that inner circle and transitioning to those outer, more public circles. So then the third sphere, I see it just as kind of passively public, like your website, past art, the way you have shared out in the world, but it's kind of been digested a little bit, and it's your identity that you've kind of curated and put out there. And then that very outer circle is when you're like really promoting, like very assertively putting yourself out there. And those last two circles, the person who's encountering your work, their opinion starts, maybe not opinion, their experience starts to matter because you're sharing it. Like you want them to have a certain experience of their work. So that's where you want to know, like, what experience are they having? And if it doesn't match with what you're trying to do, like, you'll need to figure out what that means for you. And this is where your best artist self lives. This is the curated version of you. You're not showing absolutely every single piece, maybe. I just posted this quote about how much work Picasso made. And I looked this up to verify it. Like, they estimate that he made 50,000 artworks in his lifetime. But he's not known for every single one. Like, who even knows where they are? Like, are there Picasso pieces that are worthless? It's kind of funny to think about that. But that's an awful lot of work to make, and to only be known for like 100 pieces. And that's like but those are the pieces that matter to others, maybe not to him, and that's a whole complicated topic. Like, do we get to decide what our best work is? I don't know. Not going to go into that whole thing. So those are the basic spheres. And I think we need to be aware of them, and we need to be aware of where we want to be when we're actually making art. Because if you're doing a commission, you're probably not going to be in that innermost circle. If you're doing, a public artwork, you're going to be like out on that outer circle, like most of the time. Like that's a service, it's not about as much about you, and so I think it's good because I know for myself, I'm trying to be in the inner circle and the outer circle at the same time. Like I have that outer circle, those concerns, like intruding when I want to be having this very private experience. And, what I've learned is that I can't get rid of that. I just have to keep, like, as I'm like, sometimes I can get really lost, but at first I have to like ask myself, like, well, who's this for? Is this really what you want to be doing? Like, really, that yes, no, like, are you choosing this because you think it's the right thing to do? Like, what would really feel good? What would be the most enjoyable thing? And at the same time, like if you're in an art class, you probably don't want to be sobbing while you like work through, something really deep. I mean, maybe it depends on the class, if it's an expressive arts class, that's going to be okay. But, maybe not in a traditional oil painting class. I'd be that person though. No, I wouldn't. So, and then there's also the boundaries, and I think that's where the yeses and nos come from. Like when you're going from one circle to another, you're deciding what to let out and you're deciding what to let in. So as you get stronger in your art and what you want to say, you start to realize like not all opinions are equal, and that your art isn't for everybody. Like you don't want it to be, because then it would just be like a nothing. It would be so averaged out. You want it to be very specific for the people that are going to respond to it, and you need to edit out the people that it's just not for. They have their own artists. You don't have to be in service to everybody. You want to be really specific. And then, some also of that boundary stuff is like kind of like a professionalism. And this is something I'm struggling with and trying to figure out for myself, which is just like working in a series. Like I tend to work a piece at a time, and then I have all of this work that sometimes it doesn't look like it's made all by the same person. Like, and I don't like that. I don't like how everything looks so different. Like it feels really good in the moment, but then like later it's like, it feels like it doesn't fit into the story of who I am, the story I'm trying to cultivate. And so that's my bleeding edge growth right now, is how to stay with my style. And I don't have an answer for that yet. I'll let you know when I do. I have an answer that I'm experimenting with. Anyway, so like, if it's really important to you to always be in that sort of free expressiveness, but then, like I do, but also like me, I want my work to have some cohesiveness. That's part of that circle boundary, like starting to think about the outer opinion of it looking like it's cohesive, that it's a body of work, that it's all about the same thing and all of that. So, that's part of that moving in and out of those different circles. So I'm just looking over my notes. So basically, what these spheres are is that sort of public to private spectrum, but also like the yeses and nos are kind of defining the boundaries of each circle. Yes, I will say this out loud. No, your opinion of my work doesn't matter, and really putting healthy boundaries on your creative spirit and not letting it be down. And this is something we have to learn. Not every opinion is equal. Some are actively dangerous and unhealthy, and learning to protect yourself and your artistic soul by putting up healthy boundaries and knowing where you are and what you need before you encounter the other. And I think that is it. I'm sorry that I don't get to share my pretty little Canva nested circle diagram, but I'll put it somewhere. I'll put it on the blog post. Not that it has any value. So some things to think about are just your experience of those circles, and is there anything that I left out that you think goes somewhere in that? And how are you in each of those circles? Like how much time do you spend in each one? How does it feel to move between them, and where do you need some support? That's one of the things that's really good about creativity coaching, is it helps navigate those different circles, and dealing with blocks that keep you from working in the first place, dealing with the marketplace and rejection and putting yourself out there and all of those issues. That is all what creativity coaching is for. And so if that's something that you might be interested in, you can email me telling me what you're frustrated with, and or there's a form on my website where you can submit, and we can just hop on a Zoom call and see if it's something that would work for you. It's something I really enjoy doing. It's not going to be like a sales call. Like if you don't want to do it, it's fine. It's for you. So that's it. Have a great weekend. Bye.